SBRForum videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are wrapping up our preview of the main card of UFC 169 right now. We're talking with Nick Kalikas from MMA oddsmaker.com and Reed Kuhn, who wrote a book called Fightnomics. His website is fightnomics.com, and he analyzes MMA fights from a statistical standpoint. All right, guys, the last fight that we're going to talk about, Abel Trujillo and Jamie Varner. Varner is minus 150 at the moment. Trujillo is plus 130. And, Trujillo is just, one of those, all offense type guys, right? Super violent. Not necessarily, though, top 10 caliber, but, he gives you something that you at least have to deal with. Can Varner deal with it? I think that he can. I would probably take him at minus 150, although I'm not sure about that. Reed Kuhn, what do you think of these lines?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Varner is just a little bit more polished. He's definitely the more experienced guy. And in terms of striking, both these guys look like they can hit hard, but Varner has been doing it consistently for a very long time. He's earned 7 knockdowns in the WEC and in the UFC. His accuracy is okay, but he hits hard. In fact, his problem almost is that he hits too hard. He's broken his hands a few times. But I'm looking over on the flip side, Trujillo, he's also an aggressive guy. He swings for the fences. He doesn't mess around with the jab very much. But his defense is soft. He gets hit a lot when he's raging forward. And Varner is, I think, enough of a veteran to know how to take advantage of that. And then the X factor is the wrestling. While Trujillo has been aggressive on offense, defensively not so good. His takedown defense is actually pretty bad. And Varner is an experienced wrestler. So if he gets into trouble, Varner, I think, has this out if he needs it to go to the mat. So I do see a number of advantages on one side of the line here for Varner. And the line is close enough where I'd be willing to go with Varner straight up.
Okay, that's encouraging. You agree with me. So what stats do you look at that indicate that Varner will be able to handle the offensive onslaught of Trujillo?
Well, his striking defense is about average, although we have to remember a lot of his fights did come against top-level guys. Trujillo has not been facing top-level guys, and yet his defensive stat is very poor. So I would hope, both these guys tend to press forward, so this should be actually a very exciting fight right out of the gate if both guys are willing to initiate. But exchange for exchange, Varner is going to be landing the more accurate strikes. And both guys hit hard. He should make sure he'll pay early. And then again, even if he does get tagged, he's got this out plan on the ground. So either way, Trujillo clearly still dangerous, but there's enough here in the lightweight division to lean on Varner.
All right, I agree with you. I would take Varner even at minus 150, although if it creeps higher and higher and higher, not sure how enthusiastic I'd be about it. Nick Kalikas from MMA oddsmaker.com. Where'd you open these lines?
Minus 190 Varner. The comeback was around plus 150 or so when it first hit 5 dimes. Yeah. So early action did come in on Trujillo, and it continues to a little bit. We will see some action back on Varner, make no mistake about it. So I think it'll creep up a little bit closer to where I opened it originally. But at the same time, I think the majority of the fans out there are coming in on Trujillo because of the fact that he could dictate the pace. He usually pushes a high pace. He controls the fight, where I know his wrestling defense that you guys just mentioned, his takedown defense isn't that good statistically, but you got to remember, though, he faced Khabib in one of those losses, and Khabib just ragdolled him a little bit, and he can do that to most. So I think that that's going to affect the stats a little bit. And Khabib is a top-level guy. I mean, he's in line for a title shot. So you got to give him a little bit of credit there for that fight. But I do agree strongly that Jamie Varner is a more technical fighter. He's got better boxing on the feet. He has better technical wrestling. But the problem with him is he's another one of these guys at times that does tend to let people push the pace on him. He backs up a little bit. He gets stuck against the cage. Trujillo is a beast. I mean, as far as that stuff goes, he's aggressive, throws heavy hands. He does like to clinch up, push people against the cage as well. And Varner, as the fight goes on, I think sometimes he won't use his wrestling offensively like he should. He does tend to not show up at times in his cardio, does slow down around 2 and around 3. Now, he's looked pretty solid, but it depends on which partner you're getting as well. So I think there's a lot of positive things right now behind Trujillo, a lot of momentum coming in. He's got confidence. That win over Bowling was really a good win for him, a solid win. And I think Varner's been on a roll himself. He's got more confidence as of late as well. But it's a tricky spot because, again, we're going to depend on the judges more than likely here. I think there can be a finish in this fight, but Trujillo's a hard guy to stop. And Varner, again, I think he tends, if he makes it out of round 1, round 2, round 3, I think there's less likely of a finish possibly in this spot, unless he does take Trujillo's back and subs him out that way, maybe after Rockage. But if it does hit the cards, it's going to be a situation, I think, where we see almost like a Bendo Thompson type of decision. It might be weird because the judges really don't know how to score fights, it seems, out there anymore. So that's the one factor I think that everybody's betting on Trujillo, because I think most expect it to hit the cards, and if it does, it's going to be a close decision here.
Reed Kuhn, what do you have to say about all those comments by Nick Kalikas? Do you think that did you expect this fight to go the distance?
Hard to say. It definitely could. Both these guys are pretty tough. They're used to finishing people, not getting finished. When Varner fought Joe Lozon, he gassed pretty late and was submitted, but I don't think that that's a risk here. In fact, I think if it comes to a submission, Varner probably has the better chance if he gets the back. But yeah, the over and going to decision, that's a reasonable play. These are lightweights. That does happen pretty much half the time,
right?
Maybe even more. So that's not unrealistic. I just think that in terms of past the victory, Varner has a few more ways to win this. So if it does go to the cards, his accuracy, the fact that he's landing more, and mixed in with his takedowns might be enough to sway, because in terms of overall pace, they're actually pretty even.
Don't get me wrong. Like I said, if there is a finish, I do agree there is probably Varner. Like I said, I think he's going to be a cleaner boxer, and I think he's got the speed advantage that he could land on Trujillo. And if he does take his back, he could probably sub him out there as well. So there is that chance of a finish, but I think the toughness of both guys might come through and it might go over. And if that's the case, that's where my caution is. That's all.
All right. Awesome call. Nick Kalikas from MMA oddsmaker.com and Reed Kuhn from Fightnomics.com. Thanks so much for joining us today.